This is my Steiner 430 Max four-wheel drive articulating tractor. It needs new hydraulic lines. All of the hydraulic lines for the back axle, this is the back axle hydraulic motor, they all run through the middle of the tractor. And the middle of the tractor pivots on that bolt and this grease zerk ball joint. So I need to replace all these hydraulic lines. This is the line here that decided to give up the ghost, not there where it's chafed, but up here where there's dry rot from twisting. It's disintegrating. It is 20 years old, so I have to replace the 5 hydraulic lines that go from the front of the tractor to the rear of the tractor. I just decided to replace all of them at once because they're all old and they've all got some serious chafing on it. Like right here, there's some pretty good chafing where it's rubbing against the frame, and some other serious chafing like right here. So they're all suspect. I'm just going to replace all of them. This is a return pickup for the rear transmission, and I'm just loosening this return hose. Little note to self, this lower hydraulic line goes on the left side to, what is that? That is one side of the front pump. And the other hydraulic line, this one here, goes to there. Okay. Now these other hydraulic lines, we have the one that down here, this one went to this side of the pump. This one, see it moving there. That one goes to around here, up and over, and into that one. So that would mean that this other hose here, that's on this side of the pump, goes to, it's very tight. Where does that go? Ah, it's down at the bottom. Okay. That one goes up here, up there next to the red one, which is, I'm not entirely sure where that goes. I have made a right mess of my hands. I keep wiping them off. Only a little bit of blood. And I'm making good progress on this. So you can see a massacre of hydraulic fluid under there. Anytime you're taking off all the hoses, you're going to have that. I wish I didn't have to disconnect this hose here. It actually goes on this port right here, but I needed to take off the hydraulic line behind it back there, and I wouldn't have been able to do that with that on. I accidentally took it off in the first place, and it turns out it had to be off anyways. And I taped up the end so nothing will get in there. One of these hydraulic lines that I couldn't figure out where it goes, it actually snakes all the way up to the front here to right there. I got the correct parts here. This is that this is a filter suction hose. That's what this one is. This is a 3/4. And one thing you have to do especially with hydraulic transmissions. And there's no filter between the motor that's on the bottom transmission there and the pump. So the only filter is on the suction pickup. So after these motors are done with their hydraulic fluid, they dump the fluid into the transaxle, I think, maybe. And then the transaxles put it back up into the filter. So there's no filter. You have to really clean these out with brake parts cleaner and the air hose. And that gets all the gunk and swarf out of there. I also spent some time on my side and back. Let's see, up in there, there's a channel where all the hydraulics flow through. There, I have changed the focusing method to smooth zone AF, and it should focus on the center of the picture. And you can see the channel there where all the hydraulics go through. I might have gotten a little bit of junk out of there. And that's part of the reason for replacing all the lines, because then I don't have to be feeding lines through a filthy tunnel. I can pull all the lines out, clean the tunnel, and push the lines back through a clean tunnel. Of course, before I push them through, I'm going to put the caps back on. This is a hydraulic line that goes between the front and rear hydraulic motors that drive the transmissions. They are in series, so hydraulic fluid goes from one pump to the other through this hose. These directly go into the pumps themselves, or motors. I keep calling them pumps or motors. I mean, they're kind of like interchangeable. The problem is there's no filter. So when you get these new, when you get these, did they both bounce off? Okay. So you get a new one, and you want to make sure that there's no like manufacturing burrs or swarf or crud or junk or shmoo, or crud or junk or shmoo. You want a brake parts cleaner. Just give that a good blast. It'll leak out the bottom, and then you just do that. That pushes all the junk out one way, and then you want to do it the other way. And then I have to find those caps, but put the caps back on while you're installing it. Well, I've got 4 of the hydraulic lines run. You can see them sticking out there. The only problem is that when I ordered the hydraulic lines, I don't know how, I mistakenly ordered this one, which goes from the, what is it? It goes from the hydrostatic pump to the front transmission. And since that's not an articulating hose, it doesn't have like excessive amounts of wear on it, so it doesn't need replaced. And I missed, somehow, again, I don't know, this hose that runs from here up to, see where that cap is? Right there. So I'm waiting for a hose. And when I ordered all of this, I said to myself, yeah, I'll just get 2 quarts to top up the system to cover whatever's leaked and whatever might have been in the hoses when I drained them. But here's the stuff that came out. It's not only is there a lot of gunk in there because of, where it was draining from, but the oil itself just looks bad. So I'm going to actually drain all of the oil from the front and rear cases and replace it with all new oil. So that's an extra $100. Snaking the hydraulic lines through is not always the easiest task, especially with these high pressure 1/2-inch lines. But it's at least less unpleasant because I took all the lines out and cleaned the tunnel. some additional comments. One of the motor hydraulic hoses, this one here, goes to this side on the back motor pump. I guess it's a motor. That's the pump, and that's a motor. And in there, and right there, you can see the lid of it there. That's a motor too. So replace that line. But the problem was there was a whole bunch of metal from this bracket sticking down in front of here, probably down to about where my finger is. At least probably about down to where my fingernail is. So I couldn't really get a wrench on there. But if you're ever doing work in a shop like this on tractors and equipment, it's really nice to have a carbide die grinder. So you can pick up a set of carbide bits to go in a die grinder for real cheap on Amazon. I'll have a link in the description. And then of course one of these that runs on an air compressor. And that took that protruding tab down in probably a minute. Produced a lot of fine filings like that. Well, I guess they're not really that fine. But when I did that, I had to make sure that everything was capped so I didn't get any of these filings inadvertently into any of the pumps or lines. While I'm at it, now's a good time to replace all of the fuel line. So I have some more of that stuff on order too. Maybe eventually sometime I will paint. I don't know if I will replace the stickers. Now, looking under the tractor, we see it's sticking down a lot there. So I'm going to see if I can correct that a little bit. Forward a bit. Up front. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Alright, I just replaced the engine oil and filter and all the hydraulic fluid and the filter and 5 hoses and the gas line and the gas line filter, and now we give it a shot, huh? See if it starts. You knew what I never did? I never turned on the fuel. Hopefully there's enough in there to get it going. Ah, no! Got my jumper pack on, let's try it again. success. But I'm gonna pull it out and clean up the floor, spread some cat litter, and then make sure nothing's leaking. Let it sit overnight.